Welcome to the IAM Midday Spark, Monday, 12:30 on the East Coast. Hope you all are having a good day. We are going to kick it off like we always do with a little meditation reset. You got us ready to roll, Mabs? All right. Meditation is about how we respond to thoughts. It is not about suppressing them. Distractions occur when our thoughts take us away from the present moment. Often, our lives and workdays are filled with distractions and external noise that invite your attention away from the task at hand. During this meditation, please notice any thoughts that enter your mind, acknowledge them, and return your focus to your breath. Let's begin in a comfortable seated position. Perhaps you have a place to lie down, or maybe you're walking. If it's comfortable for you, gently close your eyes. Begin to mindfully pay attention to your breathing. Breathe in through your nose for the count of 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale through your nose. 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue breathing. Notice yourself become more and more relaxed with each breath you take. If distracting thoughts have entered your mind, acknowledge them, and as if pushing a cloud along its course in the sky, move the distraction out of your mind. Return to your breath. Feel yourself becoming fully present in the space. Inhale, presence. Exhale, distraction. Inhale, courage to lean into discomfort. Exhale, complacency. Inhale, responsiveness. Exhale, reactivity. Continue breathing in silence as you pay attention to your breath. I will guide you out shortly. Begin to wiggle your toes and fingers. Roll your head from one side to the other, back again. Draw a long, deep inhale and exhale slowly. Flutter your eyes open and enjoy this feeling of peace and presence as we move through the next 27 minutes of the Midday Spark. Bring us out, Mabs. IAM Midday Spark promise. We get you in and out in 30 minutes. We revive you. We ignite you. And we harness your passion for the rest of the day. What do you got? You got the Diddy trial for us here as the IAM Pulse, Mabs. I like it. I like it. I like it, Diddy. Our guest today. Let's bring him in a little early instead of waiting for the Life Unscripted segment. We have with us today Mark Goodheart, who is a trial attorney extraordinaire. He is a sports agent, certified NBA and NFL agent, and a man of great wisdom. We'll have some insight here on the Diddy trial. So welcome to the show, Mark.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
So
I'll try and at least drop one item of wisdom if possible. A lot of pressure.
So I laughed out loud. I think it was over the weekend. I saw a little clip of Dave Chappelle talking about Diddy. And first he was talking about how offended he was that he was never invited to any of the freak-offs. He said everybody else in Hollywood was. And then Chappelle said, man, he said, you know this guy's in trouble when they got him charged with RICO and he's by himself. So I don't, which was a great line. So I don't know how closely you've been following this, but any thoughts here on? So I will say to Chappelle's point, of course, RICO is usually reserved for mob cases, drug organization cases, and it has felt like a little bit like a square peg in a round hole. To charge him federally under the RICO statute. I don't know if you followed any of this, but any thoughts for us here in the IAM Pulse segment?
I have followed it from afar, and I am usually not speechless, but I am speechless on this one. Gotta be honest.
He's given new meaning to Bad Boy Records, obviously. I don't know. It feels like you're still practicing. I am a recovering lawyer, as I like to say. It feels like a state case shoved into a square peg round hole federal case. Does he get convicted just from the sheer overwhelming weight of the evidence?
It's hard to know exactly what's going on in the courtroom when you're getting your information, from page 6. But it feels as though it's an impossible amount of evidence and circumstance to overcome. That just, from the outside looking in, it feels impossible.
Yeah, it seems hard. In the beginning, I had some questions about the RICO statute, but it seems hard from the defense perspective to find something to hang on to. As the just kind of weight of the evidence seems to be pulling them under, and obviously the video of the hotel assault, and he just comes off as such a distasteful figure that it's hard to imagine. I saw 50 Cent was piling on. Did you see this? That 50's been piling on him.
I did, and I think, oftentimes, better than I do. The quote unquote winners and losers in the courtroom before a jury, it comes down to a popularity contest. And it just is hard to believe that he's going to come out of this as the likable individual in all of this, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, I think in openings, the defense tried to I think point the jury toward the RICO statute, and obviously tell them how not with the words unlikable, but they were going to hear a lot of distasteful evidence, and the only way to defend this case, I think, is to try to defend it on the RICO count, and to have jurors scratch their heads a little bit about whether the federal government has overreached a little bit. Obviously, the jurors don't really understand necessarily the distinction between federal and state court, but I do think there's a way to set this up as potentially, an overreach by the federal government, and a situation where, there will be people in the jury who've known people charged, that charged with quote unquote garden variety state crimes is a better fit here. That is a tough way to defend a case, but I think the road that they have to hoe here. So we'll see what happens. I did see that the president, our good president, said he would consider looking at the evidence for a pardon if there was a conviction. Have you seen this? Any thoughts on that?
I missed that one, but I'm just so happy to hear that he's spending his time on the important issues.
Well, this is like the WWE, because then 50 Cent weighed in and said he was going to contact the president and put forth a case to not consider a pardon. So I'm very, very glad that the president is already looking forward to this, and 50 Cent is weighing in on it. So seems like our Department of Justice is right where it needs to be.
Between the two of them, I have no doubt they will, wrap their heads around
it. they will figure it out. All right. So this is your first time on a show, and we just been taking this.
This is where the famous words of Don King come in, though. Only in America.
Only in America. One of my great lifetime memories was standing in a conference room in one of the Vegas casinos many years ago at a weigh-in. I can't even remember what fight. Had gone out for a fight, went to the weigh-in, and Don King was walking around the room just saying "Only in America." And he had that. Remember that crazy denim jacket he had? So he had that on the room and walking around only in America. And I do remember that that denim coat had a particular odor to it. I'll leave it. I don't know if it was the paint on the coat or what it was, but I think I can sort of still smell that today. So yes, this is only in America for certain. No question. So we've been taking this out for a little test drive. We're kind of building the plane as we fly it. So next segment that we go to is called the Mindset Mashup. What do you got for us today, Mabs? Boundaries today, Mabs. Is that what we got on the Mindset Mashup? So we're talking setting boundaries. So Mark, you and I are going to talk some life unscripted. My current journey has me constantly exploring where my energy goes, why I put it there, who I put it there for, and trying to maximize each day. We get a bucket of energy each day, and choices intentionally about where we put it and whom we put it there for. And historically, this has always been a battle for me. As you know from knowing me and from the brand, I love to just show up and help, but I'm trying to do a little bit more intentionally now. Where do you fall on this personal boundary struggle for you, or you got it all figured out?
Yeah, it would be the former. It is a struggle daily, hourly, moment by moment.
How you making out today?
How am I making out today? I actually quite often don't know that in the moment you know how you're making out. Sometimes it's a reflection on the day or the week or the past 6 months or whatever it may be after it happens. Um, it, I think in the moment it's always a constant struggle. At least for me, it is. I was actually thinking about this in anticipation of coming on. I thought about, you know, generally speaking, most of my energy and time goes to three things. It goes to my family, my work, and myself. And I sort of put the work and the family and all of these things that are scheduled and constant and required, if you will. But then to what extent are they required within the day, within the week, within, the overall journey? And that's really the struggle and the balance, because all that other time is for yourself. And I don't mean just for yourself alone, but for the things that truly sort of ignite you. That could be with family, it could be with friends, it could be by yourself. But the family requirements, the family obligations, the work obligations, those are like those are things when you wake up you think you have to do them, and you do to a certain extent. But I think what we're talking about is how do you set these boundaries so that there's whatever that quote unquote healthy mix is within the day, within the week.
So let me query you
So
this.
my answer basically tells you that I'm struggling with it.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Can you take care of the family and the work if you're third on the list, and this is my ongoing inquiry, do we have to put ourself and taking care of ourselves at the top of the list in order to be our best self for those that mean the most to us? So a little bit of a circular, but that's where, so I'll leave this for folks out there. That's where my exploration is do I, when and how do I have to go first so that I can show up better for those that you listed there, particularly your family?
Yeah, I think, some of it depends on the day, right? There are those, I actually always try and put myself first. And when I say myself, I mean, whether it's, the yoga class for myself or the baseball catch with my son or the, night out with my wife or, going to my daughter's softball games. And I always try and put that first. Of course, there are those days where you just have to strap in and get other stuff done. But I also do like to say, and I say this all the time, when things get really crazy, when you're thinking, oh my God, all I can do is this work or this stuff or these obligations, that's actually when you need to go take care of yourself the most.
Yeah, I think for me, I just have to build it into the day, like you said. Because in real time it's hard if we have it built into the day. So I went darting out of here about 10 o'clock, juggled a call to get in the yoga studio 10:30 to 11:30. Knew when I got back, Mabs would have us ready to roll here on the show, and put some other things off to just do it. And I think you have to schedule it into the day. So I'm going to pivot a little for you. We're going to go to life unscripted. So boundaries is my thing. I'm going to put you on the spot. It's your struggle, challenge or opportunity. You show me challenge, I'll show you opportunity. What's on your plate that feels like it's sticky today?
Today.
Today, well, yeah,
Well,
or any one of, I'm sure, 5 or 10 things that may be there.
you're saying what is on my plate that is sticky today?
Yeah, where's the current growth opportunity? What are you struggling with?
Wow, where's the current? Well, I think what's sticky today is it's a Monday. Um, it's nice outside. I have not yet found my way to the yoga studio. Got to coach a 8-year-old playoff baseball game at 5:30. I've got calls scheduled at 3 and 4. And what's sticky is, am I going to be able to find that time for myself to break a sweat, which I know will make everything else better and make me able to show up for everything else in a better way. But then you've also got that list of 12 things to do that I know I'm only going to get 4 or 5 done. But, that's what's sticky for me today. And I think, that's what's sticky a lot of days, I say there's not enough hours in the day, but there are enough hours in the day. It just sort of depends how you plot them out and use them. And I sort of chose to have a, slow morning around the house. Not that, I was up early and I was doing stuff, but I just sort of chose to not run out. And I waited till my daughter woke up. She was going to take an exam, and I wanted to make sure I saw her, said hello, wished her luck. And, so that was a choice. So what's sticky? All these choices we make. How do we spend our time? And it's also, you make these choices and you want to feel good about them and be present and live with the choices in a positive way, not be, oh, I should have done this with that hour or 2 hours. So that's what's always sticky is, how do we use the time? How do we spend the time? And how do we make it feel good?
Yeah, I think so on that, I'm about scheduling it in. So I think part of what I hear you saying is I have this thing on regret, right? Regret happens in real time, but we feel it later. Some regrets are the big ones. Some are just the daily, did I get to yoga? Did I get to the gym? So I guess I suggest to people look at it this way, that regret happens in real time, but we feel it later. There's a difference between regret and hindsight, right? Just looking back, coulda, woulda, shoulda. But in those moments when you know that if I move these things around or if I shut it down, I can take the walk, I can get to the yoga studio, I can do the workout, I can read the book, I can journal a little bit, I can watch Midday Spark for a half hour, whatever the things are that you can do. In real time, you have to really do the evaluation that if I make a different choice, then, like you said, when I'm coaching the game, so when you're coaching Ben's game and, you're a little, more uptight than the ordinary organizing 8-year-olds to play baseball, right? And you feel that, and you didn't go to yoga, right? That's when you feel the regret, but it happened back at, 12 or 1 or 2 when you made the choice, if you didn't have it scheduled in from the day before, to stop everything and go do what you need to do. So, my kind of life hack for people from what you just said is to always remember regret happens in real time, but we feel it later. So when you're in those moments, here we're talking about those like kind of daily life choices. It's pausing and thinking about how physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually you'll feel later in the day or the next day or whenever it is for not having done whatever that thing or things are that serve you. So, you shared you have not, taken any like me time to break a sweat today. Just take a moment, like a second, and think about what that will feel like at, 5:40 in the top of the second when it's, already, 13-12 in the 8-year-old baseball game. And there's some parent staring.
Johnny's playing in the dirt in right field.
And there's a parent staring you down because Sally hasn't gotten in the game yet. And, and all the rest of it. So just give it a moment. And I would say that the same thing to folks out there is just pause for a second and notice the regret is happening in that moment that you make the choice. If you don't make the choice that's best, to care for yourself, and then you're going to feel it later when you're coaching these 8-year-olds. So, so after we sign off, and you're making the decision on whether to get in the yoga studio, that's my life hack for you.
There you go.
All right,
but I appreciate what you're saying. I think you're right that the regret does happen in real time, but you also carry it with you, and so, or you don't have to carry it with you, right? Because I think one of the things you're talking about is be confident with the choice you're making, and if the choice is to do what your mind's telling you to do, be confident with that and enjoy it. But if you choose to go the other direction, be confident and embrace that as well. Essentially, right?
Yeah, and I would put a bow on it this way, which is careful when it's the mind that we're following. It's usually our body, particularly when it comes to these things. I think we're talking in the context of physical activity or self-care activities. That if you really quiet it down in the mind and you feel into your body, it almost always knows what you need. So I guess I would tell folks to do that, like really look inside for what you need, and then figure out how the mind is giving you all these reasons not to do it, and what the right answer is. For me anyway, because my mind will always find a way to screw it up.
Well, it's interesting. You asked me sort of the other question you asked within that question was, what is the opportunity of the day? I guess my honest answer to that, and I'm always going to be honest with you, is I don't know. So I actually haven't slowed down to think about it. I've just been caught in the minutia of the individual tasks so far today. So I haven't really thought about what is today's opportunity. I've been very focused on, this email or that letter or this phone call or, okay, at 12:30, I'm going to jump on the Midday Spark. Little did I know I was going to start with a breathing exercise. I was going to turn out all the lights, but I figured that wouldn't be good TV. But, so it's an interesting question that you asked, because I actually haven't even slowed down to think about what is the opportunity of the day.
All right, so let's see. Maybe we'll find an opportunity. Mabs, what do you got for us for the quote of the day? So let's see what we got here. What he's got for us. All right. My man, Ralph Waldo Emerson. What we fear doing most is usually what we most need to do. What we fear doing most is usually what we most need to do. For anybody that follows Iron Advocate Mindset knows that this is my guiding light. Find your fear, and it will lead you to what you're supposed to be doing. So, what are you scared of today, Mark?
Oh man,
listen? You don't come on. There's no softballs on here, okay? So, what are you scared of? I mean, I'm scared of the same thing I am every day. I'm scared of not slowing down enough to be the best parent and person I can be. I'm always scared of my own stuff getting in my way, and diminishing how I show up for people. So always trying to focus on that. I think that's the current fear that guides me.
Running out of time today and being rushed and haphazard and half present when I get home to get my son and go to the ball field, and like I am many days. I guess if I already feel the time ticking away, and so I guess my biggest fear today, like many days, is just worrying about this use of time and not making the best use of it or the smartest decisions with it, and which is all sort of artificial, and it's really just a unfounded fear. But
I mean, think about
that would be my biggest fear today on Monday, June 2nd, at 12:54 p.m.
So I mean, this is how this stuff, like how the dots connect, is that what I hear you saying is that you are scared that while you will definitely physically show up for your son and his baseball team today. Did you say 5 o'clock they play?
Yeah.
All right. So while you're certain that you'll physically show up, that your fear is between the rushed afternoon, the crazy drive to get there on time because you squeeze too much stuff in, that you will be less than fully and completely present, which at the end of the day is why we should be volunteering to coach our kids' sports teams. Otherwise, we should cede and let somebody else do it who can be more present than us. And so that's the fear. And if you're not, that regret will be happening in real time, but it'll be this evening when things slow down or you lay down to go to sleep that you look back and the experience of coaching wasn't what you wanted it to be for them or yourself, or you were a little bit reactive in moments rather than being responsive, or just didn't find those moments to soak it in. And I mean, this is where the dots connect, because if you don't do this work now, then you won't have the intentionality and the discipline to do the things on the drive. And maybe it is a breathing exercise. Maybe it's, putting on some music that gets you centered. But most of the time we don't do that. So my, I guess, thought to you for the day is take these things and be intentional for the next number of hours to put yourself in a place to do the most important thing, which is show up as present as humanly possible for Ben and his team, and quite frankly, the kids on the other side of the field and all the parents out there as well. So hopefully you take a little bit of this and can do that. So we're gonna pop up. If you hang around for another 3 minutes, I always promise folks we're gonna get them off on and off in 30. We got a little journal prompt for you, so maybe you can find a for us, Mabs. One of my favorites. So 2 lists. Mark should be able to do this in short order here. Who are you according to others? Who are you according to your deepest self? Where is there overlap? What are the differences? Sort of a Venn diagram of ourselves. One circle fully authentic, the other circle what folks see from us. What are these parents going to see out on the field? What are opposing counsel, or quite frankly, even even Danielle, anybody else that encounters you. So you don't have to answer this, but maybe think about your Venn diagrams. How much overlap is there? What's your gut? Spitball it for me. How much overlap between the complete, total, authentic, vulnerable Mark Goodheart and the one that the world gets each day when you move around?
I actually think that there is quite a bit of overlap.
I do too.
I
I do too.
I don't think I have that many multiple selves. I think I am pretty true to who I am, and I think I'm pretty honest and to people. And I think my truest self is both, what I try and cultivate internally and externally. So I actually think there is quite a bit of overlap.
And it requires daily calibration, right? Some days we show up more authentically than others, and I think for me that comes again with like quieting the noise and trusting my own voice in what directions I move and where I put my energy and who I want to be with. I want to be around people that invite me to be fully authentic and vulnerable, right? So a lot of it is both my choices as to who I am, but back to the top of the show, my choices about who I spend my time with and how and where I invest my energy, because there's a cultivation to authenticity. And that's why I love having you on for one of these launch episodes while we're building the plane as we fly it. So because you do show up that way and you invite me to show up that way, and I appreciate you deeply for that.
Awesome.
And as the years go by, my circle becomes a triangle. Sometimes just a couple of dots, because that makes me show up better, more powerful. So thanks for popping on today.
I appreciate you saying that.
Thanks, man. Thanks for popping on. We're gonna land the plane just in time, I think, Mabs. You want to land? What do you?
sick.
All right.
It takes a minute. All right. Gotta mute you. But first attempt, I think it's going pretty smooth. Mark was a pretty good guest for the first run of this. I will say I wanted to get some input on Trump's pardon idea. That's a little horrendous. I don't. It's a little too early to be announcing those type of things.
It's important country business, Mavs. Okay, he's got to be investigating the Diddy conviction.
I think he might have different, bigger, larger things that he should be focusing on. But announcing that is maybe a little too early. But no, the Midday Spark. I think first day run was pretty good and smooth. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, I'll take a pretty good. That's like a B-B, which is right where I'm accustomed to being. So,
all right, Mavs, great job running the board. All right, land a plane.
Thanks for having me.